It's serious.
Welcome to the 30-minute hour. It's the weekly podcast where we discuss business, sports, politics, and whatever's on our mind. I'm your host, Eric Twiggs, your procrastination prevention partner. Joining me as always, you know him as my right-hand man. He's the super CEO, the business strategist extraordinaire, and all-around good guy, Ted Fells.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Good evening.
Eric, I got something to share, Eric.
Okay, Ted, what you got, man? What you got?
So today I got in the mail. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this?
Oh, wow. Play pits.
The Play Pits kit. So Vanessa doesn't know about Play Pits. So Chantel has a business that has deodorant. She created this deodorant that is natural products. Made it for her son. Started this business. She was one of our first guests on our podcast back in 2019. Yeah, one of our earlier guests. Came back a couple weeks ago. Now she's got a warehouse in Atlanta, and she done gone from not just the deodorant, but she got a whole kind of, trying not to spill it and all, but she got all kind of products up in here. And this is the King deodorant. This is so it's got deodorant. It's got a scrub in here, Eric. It's got something that says butter on it. Hydro shower gel. And deodorant. This is great. So she sent this to me today in what's that, the loofah sponge? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I don't necessarily, I'm not a really loofah sponge kind of guy, but yes, but this is cool. So yeah, you want to support Chantel, go check her out. What is it? You see it? It's hard. I do this.
Playpits.com.
Yeah, check her out. She's doing great things. We're really proud of all Chantel's accomplishments. So I thought I'd give her a shout out because I received this in the mail today.
Oh, that's awesome. So we talked about this last week. So last week, as you know, was our 100th episode, right? This is officially episode 101. And so during the 100th episode, we went back to our previous episodes, right? And we talked about the people that they were at a certain point when they came on our show, and now they've just gone to a whole other level. Chantel Powell is one of those. She's the founder of Play Pits, and definitely you need to check out her products. Check her out. She's got a massive Instagram following. I think she has a small country following her on Instagram.
She's a rock. She's a deodorant rock star.
I tell you, she is you didn't even know there was such a thing as a deodorant rock star.
Man, let me tell you something.
Right. This show has already been educational.
Deodorant rock star, boy. So Vanessa, great things are ahead for you after this show.
Absolutely. That's the trend, Vanessa.
Looking forward to it.
On this show, they just take off. They go to a totally different level. So and you're already doing great things. So we're going to introduce Vanessa formally here. But as you can see, this is clearly not your everyday podcast.
You don't know by now, after 100 episodes, that we do it a little different.
That's right. We do things a little differently on the 30-minute hour podcast. I mean, first off, we're broadcasting everywhere now, right? I mean, we're on Facebook Live. We're on LinkedIn Live. We're on YouTube Live. We're on Instagram Live. I see Troy, shout out to you for watching us on Instagram. I know we got some others that are going to be joining us on Instagram. If you don't know about this show, you just don't want to know.
You just don't want to know. I mean, there's so many ways you can check us out now. Oh, man, I don't do Facebook. But that's okay. We on IG. I mean, I don't do IG. But we on YouTube. Like,
then they're like, oh, well, yeah, I'm real professional. So I like LinkedIn. We got you there too.
We on LinkedIn.
We got all your bases covered.
That's it.
That's right. And you may say, you know what? I don't even like watching podcasts on video. I'm more of the podcast app type person. We got you there too. You can go to Spotify, you can go to Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts, there you will find us. So make sure you're checking us out. And I would definitely encourage you to go to Spotify or Apple and listen to last week's episode 100, because we really dropped some nuggets and we referenced specific episodes from the past with some takeaways. Like we mentioned the two Chantel episodes, and we mentioned others. So please go back and check us out. And before we get into the meat of our show today, I wanted to mention the What Now movement and What Now University. I mean, this coming Saturday. Well, first off, this past Saturday, we had a coffee and conversation where we answered questions about the What Now movement. We told our story, the story of our founding, and we talked about what's coming up next. So you can always go to the What Now movement Facebook page. It's a private group. We'll let you in. The private group, just go in and check out that coffee and conversation from this past Saturday. But coming up, we've got Gina Young is going to be doing a masterclass. And guess what? Gina Young is a previous guest of the 30-Minute Hour podcast.
Would you look at there?
I tell you, there's a theme developing here, Ted. But she's going to talk about business accounting best practices, how to measure and manage your money. Nice. So the networking starts at 9:30. Her presentation starts at 10 o'clock. It's this coming Saturday, March the 20th. You need to go to whatnowuniversity.com to hold your seat. And Ted, this week I need to clarify for everybody, this is virtual. Don't show up at my house expecting a math class.
So you're not getting in. You might as well sit in the car and do it on your smartphone, but you're not getting in the house.
I had to emphasize, some people think, hey,
I got my shot. I can come in. No.
You get 2 doses? You got the 2 doses?
Right. No, I just got 1 shot. I can come in.
Like I'm vaccinated. I'm trying to make it happen. No, this is virtual. You need to go to whatnowuniversity.com. You'll get a registration link, and then you'll be able to participate in this upcoming masterclass session. Ted.
Yes, Eric.
I've got something that's on my mind.
Please share, Eric.
So today we're going to talk about how to gain an unfair advantage.
Unfair advantage.
That's right. Those of you watching us on Instagram, how to gain an unfair advantage. And I've shared portions of this story on a previous episode, but I think this really sinks into what we're going to talk about today with our guest. I'm watching this documentary. There's this legendary football coach. His name is Vince Lombardi. Now, most people think that he's the greatest coach of all time. He's the greatest coach of his era. I mean, the Super Bowl trophy is named after him. But he would conduct these clinics for assistant coaches around the league because they wanted to know what the secret was to his success. So during the documentary, they interviewed this young assistant. His name was John. And John admitted to being young and cocky. He thought he already knew everything, but he was going to go to this session anyway. Now, he attended the meeting looking for some new information that would take his career to the next level. He was looking for that silver bullet. So the session was 8 hours long. 8 hours. Lombardi, he spoke for 4 hours. He took a break. He came back and talked for 4 more hours. And John was shocked to discover that the entire 8-hour session, get this, was on how to run one play.
Wow.
8 hours, one play. Wow. The play was something that was called the power sweep. Now, it was this play, and it was so simple and it was so basic that every assistant coach that was in the room, they already knew about this play before they paid for his session. Right? Everybody already knew about it. You had teams at the high school level that used to run this same basic, simple play. But he spent 8 hours focused on something that everybody already knew about. So let me tell you, this young assistant, his name was John. He was John Madden. That's who the young assistant was.
Wow.
Right? And so after attending this 8-hour session on one play, Madden went on to become a Hall of Fame head coach. So you had Vince Lombardi, you had John Madden. They both understood how to gain an unfair advantage.
Mm.
And I know what people are thinking, Ted. They're like, okay, great talk twigs, but
Right.
I don't even follow football.
Right.
I don't even know who John Madden is. What can I do?
The power sweep.
Power sweep. What is that? And I have a broom. I don't do power
What
sweep.
is that? What's that all about?
So the real question is, what can you do to gain an unfair advantage?
Help them here.
All right, Ted. Well, this is the part of the show. You know how we do. You have to pull over to the side of the road.
Pull over.
You need to press pause on the treadmill.
Put the ham sandwich down. If you got a ham sandwich, put it down right now.
Yeah, I mean, you've been eating a ham sandwich for 101 episodes. You got to put it down. Put the ham sandwich down, because we're going to talk about what you can do to gain an unfair advantage. Here's what you can do. Keep it simple, then keep it moving.
Keep it simple and keep it moving.
That's right. Keep it simple, then keep it moving.
Indeed.
I thought our guests would agree with that. We'll talk about that in a second.
But I was like, I don't know. I'm like, where do I come in, guys? Like,
We got you. Stay with us. We got you. But here's the thing. But simplicity gives you an unfair advantage, right? Because everybody's looking for the next shiny penny, the new thing. Everybody's trying to add all these things. But if you can keep it simple, that gives you an advantage. And we'll talk about that more here in a little bit. Matter of fact, Bruce Lee had this saying, right? Bruce Lee, he said, I'm not afraid of that man that practices 10,000 kicks one time. I'm afraid of the man who practices one kick 10,000 times. That's the guy that I'm afraid of. So it's all about simplicity. And people that are successful in business at the highest levels, these other sports teams, they keep it simple. And even in business, it's not about overcomplicating. It's about keeping it simple.
Yeah.
So keep it simple and keep it moving. That just happens to be the motto of our guest today. And she's right here.
It is indeed. Yes. And I'm all about efficiency and effectiveness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me tell you a little bit more about her, and then we'll go ahead and officially bring her on to the show. She's a business expert, keynote speaker, and best-selling author dedicated to helping full-time employees transition to entrepreneurship by building their business, while employed. Her consulting company, Your Vision's Catalyst, coaches and advises 9-to-5ers on how to build a profit-producing, purpose-driven business without the overwhelm. It's not hustling that's bad. It's how you're hustling that they fix. With a focus on efficiency and effectiveness, she works with you as a new entrepreneur on taking care of your life while also taking care of business. Her motto, like we said, keep it simple and keep it moving. Now, you need to know about her background. She's got a management science and engineering degree from Stanford University and has served strategic roles at Fortune 500 companies.
All right now, Vanessa.
Let me tell you. Please join me in welcoming to the 30-minute hour podcast, Vanessa Zamy.
Woo, okay. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great.
Welcome.
All right. Yeah, it is truly an honor to have you on the podcast. And I definitely want to unpack this whole thing about keeping it simple. And I know that's something that you work with people on. We're going to get into your background and backstory and all that, but can you touch on that, how important simplicity is?
Yes. And so the reason why simplicity is so important, first of all, life is already complicated. And so let's try to make simple what you can make simple, right? And not overcomplicate your life. That's number one. But two, also in the field that I work with in terms of I am coaching people who are building their business, growing their business while also doing 9-to-5. while also being parents, while also, there's so much other stuff happening in life. And then you add on this business onto it, this mission, this purpose that you have. It's just one more thing, right? And what we don't want to happen is that you give up on all these other areas, or you feel like you can't make the business happen, and then you get the overwhelmed stage, and then you end up quitting on one or many of the many things that you want to do. And so the reason why I'm all about keep it simple, keep it moving, and I guide my clients through essentially hustling and breathing. The name of my accelerator in which I work with clients is Hustle and Breathe Business Accelerator. It's about hustling and breathing, right? And it's essentially, it's about, yes, you want to get yourself done, achieving those goals, but doing it in a way that someone can look up to and be like, I want to do the same way. And not like, ooh, I don't know about that. I don't know about the hustle. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm gonna be right here. So yes.
Awesome. Well, good. So let's take it back. Let's go back to your childhood years. When you were growing up, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
There are several things I wanted to be. Several things. I would say, like, at some point, I was like, maybe I'll get to 5'9" and I'll be on America's Next Top Model or something. I was like, oh, maybe I'll be a model. Then I was like, maybe I'll be a teacher. I want to help people. Then I was like, maybe I'll be an accountant because I like math. It was a whole situation. So I want to be a whole bunch of things. I will say that eventually I landed on becoming a neurosurgeon. So I was going to be a neurosurgeon. That was my whole plan. I went to college pre-med. It was a whole situation. I made it through organic chemistry. I did get an A in organic chemistry. And then I decided to go into business stuff while I was in college. But yeah, so essentially for the majority of my childhood years, I was going to be a neurosurgeon. I had a 13-year plan. It was a whole situation. I was going to go to like Johns Hopkins, and I was going to do, first I was going to Stanford. Then I was going to go to Johns Hopkins, and I was going to go to chief residency. It's a whole situation. But that's like business instead. And so here I am on this podcast with you.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean that's interesting. So if you could go back to that time where you were thinking about, okay, I'm going to go to this medical path, if you could go back to that time as yourself, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I would tell myself to, sell those cakes. Sell those cakes. So I was grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and Boston, Massachusetts. And while I was in Brooklyn, we were living in our lovely apartment building, and there would be times that I would just I would bake those cakes in the boxes and stuff, right? I would bake them. People would really love them. Like, it was like, real great. No special fancy stuff. But it was like extra stuff. Like, oh man, put my foot in it. But anyways, with that being said, people really love.
Why I feel like I want a piece of cake.
Exactly.
Was it chocolate cake?
No, it was just a regular plain cake, but it tastes like, if you imagine chocolate, it tastes like chocolate.
Well, she made some magical cake, Eric.
I made some magical cake, exactly, right? So I would tell myself to sell it. Because I was like, thinking about it, reflecting on it, I was like, man, I guess I could have made that into a business had I known about entrepreneurship, had I thought about, like business as an option, had I known about that stuff, I would have just sold the cakes. And so what I'll tell my past self would be, Vanessa, sell those slices. Sell those slices.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Sell the slices.
Because then I would never, I would have maybe gone entrepreneurship earlier. Who knows?
So let's talk about that, though. I mean, so what were some of the life experiences that led you to deviate from this medical dream to being an entrepreneur?
Yes. So I'll start with the mission of Your Business Catalyst, my consulting company, is to equip and empower ambitious solopreneurs to keep moving forward in their dream, so that when that fateful day comes, because we're all gonna die one day, they can say that they lived their life without any shoulda, coulda, woulda. They lived their life without any regret. And what the experiences that got me to that place, because I'm still alive. But essentially, it was different things. But one, I'd say the main person would be my mother, who she still lives today. Knock on yay. But essentially for her, it's a lot of misery, right? It was a lot of, paycheck to paychecks, a lot of just, struggling, like, oh, the bills, blah, 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 blah. But for her, she grew up in Haiti, and some first generation American born, but she grew up in Haiti. And while she's in Haiti, she was this big, like, people, like, she would be invited to America, and it was like this whole thing, like, just talk to her class, all that stuff. So how does someone get from there to then now struggling paycheck to paycheck, never going to make anything above like 40K a year. And it's because her dreams were deferred, right? At some point in time, her dreams died, right? But there are a lot of people like that. A lot of people like that. And when I entered corporate America, I say corporate America, 3 months in, I was literally having a panic attack. I never in my life have had a panic attack before that moment. And I just literally was in bed. I remember just being in bed in San Francisco, just like paralyzed. Like, I do not want to wake up, keep me in this dream. Like, oh my God. And so that was just 3 months in. But I still kept with it though. I still kept with the corporate environment. And because for me, like that was my goal, that was my path, etc. I didn't really know anything else. I was like, okay, well, I guess I could be a doctor. Then it's also the same thing. And so it's this whole situation where, you don't know what you don't know. And so I found myself essentially, at some point in time, I woke up a couple of years later, I found myself going down that same path of just being miserable. Essentially being miserable and just taking it, right? Taking it because I felt like it just had to get done. And then I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that's when I realized that there's another way to live life. There is another way that's accessible as well, too, accessible to everyone to live life. And that is through entrepreneurship and through building your business in the right way, obviously. And that's pretty much what then got me into entrepreneurship is actually for me, right? Yay. Ooh, okay. All right. Let's see. Didn't really have a business idea at the time. I had been for the past, essentially the years prior to that moment. For those past couple of years, I had been collecting ideas that I had in my mind. I put it in a product journal, and I'd be like, well, maybe one day I'll start a business when I'm 50, and maybe that's when it'll happen. And yeah. And so that's all. It didn't come up in the sense, but essentially it still wasn't entrepreneurship thing. So I read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was like, you know what? There's another way. This is not it. Let's figure out something else. So yeah.
Interesting. So not only you had the experience, you saw what your mom was going through, and then you got a taste of it when you got out of college. Because you got to think about it. Stanford, you're the best and the brightest.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they sell you that, hey, go to this school here and get this job, and then you'll be happy. But you found out it was something a little different.
Yeah, I ended up getting my job at the top consulting company that I had been striving for. I ended up with a salary 2.5 times the salary my mother will ever make in her life. I was like, woo, I'm so blessed. Woo, I'm so great. Woo, life is so good. Right. And I was traveling around these projects. No. And it was just like, well, looks like there's still a goal. There's still a hole. There's still a gap here. So, so then it was just, it just wasn't the happy ending. That's one would say. Yeah, that's what I would say. Now, most people, when this happens in that life, they might end up deciding to go to grad school, for example. And I had taken the GMAT and GRE. Those scores have since expired. But because I decided not to go to grad school. And thank goodness I didn't. Actually, I'm very, very thankful I didn't. No need for 200K in debt for that. Might as well put that to my business, But with that being said, it just wasn't, for me. I was like, okay, I don't want to go to grad school, because then what? I'm going to go to grad school with another company with the same, it just wasn't moved. So I decided to switch companies up. I was like, maybe it's a company. It's not corporate America, it's the company, right? So then went to a different company, great company, terrible boss. Terrible boss. So it was just like, what? The universe is telling me something. And I said, okay, I don't know what you're telling me, but okay, you're telling me something. Then I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was like, oh, that's what you're telling me. Okay, I got it. You're telling me corporate America is not for me. There's something else out there. Do that. And so, yeah. So I started a business while doing my day job.
That's awesome. So you started the business doing your day job. So one of the books that really helped you with your thought process was Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, with my thought process. Yes, I would say it didn't help me with the actions, but that was my thought process. In terms of, getting me, really it just helped me to reframe money mindset and just how to rethink what is possible. Right. And going through, yes, society is doing this thing and going through this ladder, so to speak, but there's another way. Right. And if you dare to be different, as I've always been different, if you dare to be bold and different, then, you can go towards that path and you can lead to, and for me, one of those things, another thing that added to this was, with these companies, you get the financial advisor that you speak with. So I would connect with different financial advisors, and I'd be like, okay, I'm looking to retire my mother and buy her a house. And like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And then me travel the world. That's what I'm trying to do. Maybe go to Carnival in Trinidad. That's what I'm trying to do. And then the financial advisors would say, no, can't do that. See, what you need to do is you need to just keep on saving until you're about like 65, and then maybe you'll get to do that, what you want to do. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? I had to keep on with this, like these bosses, this culture. Like, you have got to be kidding. You have got to be kidding me. So I literally spoke to 3 different financial advisors at 3 different stages. Like, I switched companies. I had a 14% salary increase when I switched companies. I then got promoted, and to a 22% salary increase when I got promoted. Still same story. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like, this doesn't make sense. And so it was just sign after sign after sign. And that's when it's like, cool, mind shifted to somewhere else. That's pretty what happened. And also the transition point that happens between employee and employer, right? That there may be some people who are listening who are facing that same transition point where, you're like, okay, I decided to do the business, but like that guaranteed paycheck though, or, just the benefits, like the benefits and all that other stuff, right? So it keeps you, or your family probably think they're like, oh, what are you doing business? What is entrepreneurship? No. And so in that sense, right, there was still that whole shift between employer. I was like, still like an employee, but employer. And I was like, OMG. And then at some point you just make the shift. At some point you realize you are on the right path for yourself, right? And there's, yes, I'm sure you can have fears, but at some point in time, you just gotta be like, bye. That's about it. Yeah, shift the mindset. Just shift the mindset. And that is a lot of what I go through when I help my clients in that transition point, and when they're transitioning between, doing the whole day job and that stability and doing, there's one client I'm working with, she's been in her career for 15 plus years, but now she realized she's doing her business that she's doing is actually completely different, right? Like for some people, they'll do like, oh, I've been doing marketing and now I want to sell my marketing to other people. That's what some people do. For her, she's been doing project management, and now she's doing digital marketing, which is completely different from the project management that she's been doing. But it ties back to her creative soul. When we asked about, what did she want to do when she was a child? She wants to do creative stuff, creative like art, and all that stuff was her jam. But then she lost that spirit because she was told not to do it. But now she's going back to it, right? And she's actually finding success in it. Like her business is just like growing each month, 30% each month on just referrals alone. And so it's just one of those things where, when you find what it is that's tied to your purpose, when you find what it is that's connected to what it is that you want to do, magic happens. It's yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. So we're talking with Vanessa Zamy here on the 30-minute hour podcast. Like we said, it's not your everyday podcast, but describe your typical client. Let's get more specific as far as your ideal typical client that comes to you, and how do you help them? Like, what kind of walk us through kind of your model?
Yeah. So my ideal client, first of all, the question I always ask people that I always look to understand is, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how much do you want this? On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how much do you want this? How much do you want this business? How much do you want this, this next level success that you say you want, right? Like, how much do you want this, right? So I look to understand that. The people who say 8, 9 to 10s, they're the right people. The people who say 1 through 7, they're not the right space. Essentially, what's happening with them is that they're working on a business or a goal that not really tied to their really inner true purpose at the end of the day. It's not really tied to what makes them fulfilled or that makes them feel fulfilled, so to speak. It could be something that they're chasing because of some get rich quick mentality. It could be something that they're chasing because, like there was one person I was connecting with where she had a whole list of ideas, and she had a prior business prior. She then got her MBA, so stopped that business, then got her MBA, and her prior business was in fitness. Then after MBA, she actually then did a corporate job, and she realized it wasn't what she was meant to be, right? Cool. Then she decided to go through, and she had a whole list of ideas. She brought that list though to her family and friends. She said, family and friends, what business should I do? Her family and friends said, you should do this fitness thing because that's what you do, because they were referring to her old business. And so then by the time that I connect with her, she's going on this fitness thing, and she's like, yeah, I just don't know. It's just all this stuff and da. Because for her, it wasn't an 8, 9, 10 for her, right? It's what other people told her to do. but her 8, 9, 10 was actually something completely opposite, different. Wasn't even the same field or industry. Like at the beginning of COVID, she was trying to do a bar. Like it just wasn't even the same like situation, right? And so that's why it's really important for me to understand. It's one of those things where, you know, if we have worked together on this like fitness idea, because when I work with my clients, I'm putting my time and energy I'm also putting my time and energy into your business, right? Into helping you be successful in what it is that you want to do. And so what I don't want to do is waste my time and energy on an idea or business that you don't really want to do, but you're just doing it because you feel like you have to do it, right? And it just doesn't make sense, right? It's like when maybe you're working your day job, you don't really like it, but you're just doing it because you just feel like you had to do it, versus someone who actually wants to do their job. It's just completely different, right? It's completely different. And so that's the first question I ask people. And then from there, I work with people who have already launched. I work with people who have already launched their business. That is the key distinction. They've already launched their business. They've already made that announcement, because I have a lot of people, though, they do come. I have a community of over 1,000 members. There are a lot of people in there who do come. Either they're in the idea phase, they haven't launched their business yet, or essentially, yeah, they're in idea phase. They haven't launched their business yet, or they just don't even know what idea they want to launch yet. And those people have, you know, different services for them, banging out like 2 to 3 hours as we work together. The people who I really work with in depth in my Hustle and Breathe Business Accelerator are the people who've already made that announcement in your business. You've been doing the business for about 6 to 12 months, and maybe even a little bit more, but on and off, very inconsistent. And what's happening is that you've kind of plateaued. Your income has been plateaued. Either it's 3 or 4 figures, but it's just plateaued. It's just not moving forward. And then you're also at the place where you're considering quitting the business, because maybe it's too hard when you're balancing with your job, with your family. I get a lot of mothers who come to me. And so, yeah, but essentially it's maybe you're thinking about quitting the business because you are finding that it's overwhelming. And I work with people right before they decide to quit, to help them not quit, essentially, and to get them to that place where they are seeing that success that can happen for them. Because a lot of people, it's in that overwhelm, what's happening is that you're busy, but you're not moving forward. You feel yourself being busy, but you also see yourself not moving forward. And unfortunately, you think that it's like, oh, but I'm doing all the things. Why am I not moving forward? No, that's because you're on the treadmill. You're jogging in place. You are not running over. You're jogging, but you're jogging in place. You're not moving. And so unfortunately, what's happening is that you end up just overwhelmed, unproductive, not moving forward. And then you think the business is not meant for you. You think entrepreneurship is not meant for you. You think you're not meant to do this. You think that, you know, the example you want to set for your kids is not meant to be, because this business is just not working for you. It's just you're not focusing on the right things. That's all it is. You're not focusing on the right things, right? And you're also not keeping yourself accountable to focus on the right things too. So, yeah.
You know, that's interesting though. And you said the initial question is you ask them on a scale of 1 to 10. And, you know, I always like to see if I can get somebody to find some way so we can kind of quantify it a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that, you know, most people that I come across that are just starting something or thinking about it, they're really passionate as far as what they say about it, right? Like, but how passionate are you going to be like over a period of time? Like I think I'd ask that question, and then I think I'd ask that question like every time we meet, like at 6 months from now, okay, 1 to 10, is it still a 9? Is it gone up to a 10? Is it a 7 now? Is it, depending on how it's going, is it going to go up and down? How you're feeling? You know, because, you know, there's some people, man, they'll start talking about what they do or what they're gonna do, and it's like you can't even stop them, and they're just going and going and going and going. It's like, you know, and no matter what you're talking about, you could be talking about sandwiches, and they find some way to turn that conversation into their business. And so it's like, okay, you sound really passionate about it, but then, you know, like I said, 6 months from now, a year from now, you still in that same place. So.
And that's why you have to discern. So what I do is I do a discerning between the person who, like, are you a 10 about the goal of buying a house in Tahiti, or are you a 10 about the business that you're building to get the money to buy the house in Tahiti?
Yeah,
that is the distinction there. that I make with my clients, right? And what happens is that when I connect with them on the phone, or before they become a client, essentially it's hey, what do you do? What is your business, right? And you just hear how people describe their business and hear how they are talking about it, whether it's a struggle or not a struggle, right? It's like the person who is actually working on their purpose-driven business is gonna say, I just don't get it. I'm doing this marketing and I know I'm meant to do this, da, 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 OMG, right? You can hear it's like it's a struggle, but it's like they want to keep going with it. With that business versus the other person who's like, yeah, I just don't think it's for me. So I've been thinking about this other, e-commerce thing or this other like coaching thing or this other thing. But right now I'm also just working on this thing. Right. And sometimes you'll also find people who are they're 10 about like 3 different ideas. Like they're working on this one woman I was speaking with where she's like, I was like, okay, what do you do? Right. So I do these boot camps with people where we talk about like productivity and efficiency in your marketing and efficiency in your time and just time strategy and marketing strategy. So I do these boot camps with people. And there's one woman in this boot camp and she's going through the boot camp and she's commenting. I do them through Facebook. So she's commenting live and she's like, yeah, like my boutique. Okay. We get on the phone. I'm like, oh my God, so yes, tell me more about what do you do? She's like, okay, I have this boutique, I also have this podcast, I also have this life coach thing, right? And it was like,
Vanessa, hold on one second. Can you do da-da-da-da one more time? Because like you kind of did that da-da-da-da. Can you just do that one more time for our viewers? You said right. I didn't want anyone to miss that. That da-da-da-da. That's it. If you're a da-da-da-da out there, this is for you.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's great. Like, you have all these great ideas, and it's amazing. But the fact that you are trying to do them all, it's just that's problem number 1. But problem number 2 is that for her, it was like, okay, what do you really want to do, right? Because you putting all your eggs in different baskets is not. No, that's not a thing, people. That's not a thing. It might work in the stock market. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, it's just a different ballgame. It's a different ballgame, right? It's a different ballgame. And it's focus, right? Focus is smart business. You got to focus. You have to focus. What is it like? And the thing is that if you out here telling people, you're like, what do you do? Well, I'm a podcast. So I have this podcast. You can come check it out and this link. Oh, also, I have this boutique. Here's a website for this boutique. Oh, and also, here's my 3rd business card. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about?
What are you doing?
You've already lost a person, right?
Who are you?
Exactly. Who are you, right? Who are you? And sure, some people, you have a lot of ideas that you can put all together, right? And you can make it as like one summary statement. Sure. But most people, it's just a whole bunch of just different things. But really the question that would I ask that person, right, is what do you want to do? Like, what are you looking to get out of life, right? What is a business that speaks to where you want to go, right? And then also just ask them, why are you doing this? Why? It's why. Why the podcast? Then why the boutique? Then why? And usually what's happening is that 2 out of the 3 was because, well, this wasn't working, so I decided to do this instead. Or there are posts that pop up on my feed from people posting in different groups, and they'll say, I'm trying to do my coaching thing, and it hasn't been working, and I've been struggling. So I'm thinking about starting a virtual assistant business. And it's like, okay. Yes, okay. Yes. But here's the thing, you're starting another business. You're literally starting, like, it's another business. Like, it's not even, like, you're not even, like, it's one thing to be like, I'm going to be a customer service rep on the side. I'm going to be a DoorDash deliverer on the side. But you're literally starting a whole other business, which takes what? Marketing still, strategy, planning. Like, it's not like, oh, it's virtual assistant is in more demand, and so thus let me do that. Like, no, you still got to market. You still got to have the right strategy. You still got to make the time and energy. You still got to invest your money, right? And it's just, people don't get that, right? It's all business. It's all the same business principles. It's just a different business.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's a marathon. And no matter what, it's a marathon. And so you can switch business. You're still going to be in a marathon. It's not a sprint. Nothing's a sprint. It's still a marathon. That's all.
It's a different marathon.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's it. It's a marathon in Chicago versus a marathon in Minneapolis. It's just...
it kind of goes back to what you were saying about the cake, right? You're talking about sell the slices, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's so applicable to everything. Like, whatever the business is, you're selling the slices, right?
Indeed.
Whatever that is.
That is true.
Yeah, so you can keep switching, but you still got to come back to selling the cake, right?
Exactly.
That's what you're gonna have to to do. So whatever it is you're going to be passionate about and stick to, you just got to pick it. You got to pick which one's going to be.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I still have a product journal of like 100 plus ideas.
Wow.
Working on this year vision calendar.
So Vanessa, you mentioned this whole thing of trying to be a jack of all trades. I think that's probably a common mistake that people make. Are there any other common mistakes you see with people that are trying to make that transition that we all need to make sure that we avoid?
I would say, yeah, so 2 common ones, and would be, well, let's wrap them into one. One common one is quitting their job immediately. They're like, oh my God, I'm gonna do entrepreneurship. I had this business idea. Great, quitting my job tomorrow, right? And no, right? And I think it's because part of it is because that whole, it's kind of the what do you call it? The homelessness sort of pristine utopia world that's been sharing around. Like, I was homeless to my business. You should be homeless to your business. Like this whole idea that you have to like burn all the bridges to like make it happen. And that's mistake number 1, right? It's quitting the job. It's like, I have this business idea. Great, quitting the job. And unfortunately, what's happening is that 2 things, 2 big mistakes that you end up making happen is 1, you don't even have a plan, right? You don't have a plan. And the thing that a plan doesn't take 6 years to develop, right? But at least like, okay, you have this business. Do you even know what the business is? Do you even know have you even registered the business yet? Have you even do you even know people in the business? Have you even done the business before? Do you even have proof points? Like, what are you quitting for? Right. And then 2, it's one of those things where it's not physically responsible. Your day job can literally be helping you invest capital into your business, right? Your day job is money into your business. It's intimate, right? And with that money into your business, it just helps you to be mentally and emotionally stable when doing your business, because financial stress is just not cute. Let's say someone's watching this and they try to become a coach or whatever it may be. When you're in a sales call and you're like, oh my God, this person needs to buy because otherwise I'm not going to have breakfast tomorrow. Like, that's not cute. Like, 1, they can feel that. And 2, it doesn't feel good for you either, right? And so, that's right. Let's say you're an e-commerce business and everything that you're doing with your essentially is poor decision making, right? Any decision that you're making is just based off of this like financially stressed moment of, oh my gosh, like, okay, I need to do this. Oh, it's not working. I didn't make the $5 today. Oh my God. Okay, next thing. And you're just jumping from idea to idea, strategy to strategy, like edit to edit, and you're not able to be consistent because you're pressuring yourself to reach some level that you think you're going to reach and then you don't end up reaching it. Like, it's just unfortunate. And so the big mistake is that people quit their job immediately. And the misconception is that you have to like burn all the bridges in order to make it work. And that's really not the case, right? And for those that say you've already quit your job, watching this, you've already quit your job, or maybe you were fired, right? And you find yourself in a space where
they helped you quit.
Yes, so they helped you quit, right?
You gotta fire us. Quit assistance.
Yes, they helped you quit. Exactly. And so if that's the case and you're finding yourself financially stressed in your business, guess what? I would say that's a normal place to be at the stage where you're in, because you quit your business too soon without the proof points. But the way that you can avoid that is don't go back to work, right? Unfortunately, it's like a lot of people then they quit their job, they then do the business. They're like, it's financially stressful, let me go back to work. When I say don't go back to work, I mean don't go back to the cubicle, right? Yes, you need some funds, okay? Like a lemonade stand, like so like sell stuff, do something on the side that is just not gonna be like that much work or effort as like a corporate job or cubicle job in the search process, one, but also even in the execution process of that job. And so that way you can still devote the energy and headspace into your day job, into your business, which is your new day job, right? Into your actual business. And that way you can leave that space behind. Because what ends up happening is that when you get back to that, if you already quit the day job, there's a reason why you quit. Going back to that day job will bring up all those emotions and feelings, which will also not be helpful for your business. And so if you've already quit, get yourself a little side hustle. Get yourself work volunteer for a convention, tutor people on the side, like do one of those things, right? Don't go back into becoming a marketing director at such and such company. Like, no, don't go back to that, right? But for those who haven't already quit, then keep your day job. Remember, it is grinding with money. So you can develop proof points until you're stable enough to then say sayonara.
So if I see any of my employees, like any of your books or like following you, I should be concerned. I should be concerned because they're just kind of hanging out with me for a while because there's a master plan that's in stores. Was what it sounds like.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, yeah. That's just what it is. Yes. And you have, I mean, that gets to the point where some people may be like, oh, I don't want to update my LinkedIn and with their business, right? And what ends up happening is that, yeah, depending on the company that you work for, they may not support side hustles. Maybe you have to like be secret about it. Maybe you have to be discreet about it. Do you? That's all I'm gonna say. Do you?
So you mentioned this a couple of times. You said, you haven't established proof points. Talk about that. What do you mean when you say that? You need to establish proof points.
You need to believe and have evidence that people will pay you for what it is that you have. And when I say people beyond your friends and family.
Well, they're not gonna pay you. Your friends and family, they're not gonna pay you.
It depends on the business. Here's the thing. For people in the for people in the kosher business, they're not gonna pay you. They're like, oh, that's so cute, that's so nice, pat on the back. Oh, that's so nice, but right, because they're like, $2,000 supporting you for $15,000. I don't know. I don't think so. Right. But for people in the e-commerce business, you're selling a $30 t-shirt or a $10, bath body product. You're gonna launch. You're gonna get a lot of sales. You're like, oh my God, it's so great. Friends and family. Here's the thing though. Yes, thank you, friends and family, for supporting. But here's the thing. Your friends and family are not gonna buy every single month. They may not even buy again until maybe next year. Maybe, perhaps they might buy again next year. But in their minds, they supported, they bought, they were like, "Yay! I supported my friend. I'm good. That's it."
That's kind of funny. Eric and I kind of talk about that with the different digital things that we do, podcasts and shows, and it's like you can, like my family, like I think they're tired of me sending them stuff. Like I send stuff out now and like they don't even reply. It's kind of like they're like, yeah, Ted. Like like during the pandemic, you have probably done 500 type shows or whatever, and we're done. We're done.
Yeah.
Maybe if we get up to Netflix or something like that, they'll download us or something like that. But other than that, man, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean the business, and the thing is that you don't have enough family and friends to make it to the business goals that you actually want. Right. But they have a lot of family and friends that can help you get to the business that you want, or you just have to make new friends. Like for me, I'm helping people build businesses. That requires someone who actually, at the time I was starting with people who were early on, right? That requires someone who actually wants to build a business. My friends are people in the corporate ladder. They weren't thinking about building a business, right? They're thinking about, okay, I need to either think about grad school, or they're thinking about the next company for them to go to, or they're thinking about some other thing, but they're not thinking about starting a business. So I literally had to like go through a whole new network, right? Or I essentially had to reach out to them like, hey, do you know anyone? Keep me in mind. So like at this point, they're getting messages from me just as a reminder. That's it. Like it's like, hey, by the way, just so you remember, like I have a business and it's okay, cool, quick. Just making sure. Yeah.
So what advice do you have for the people who they want to start their own thing, they're employees, they're gainfully employed, but they tell you, hey, you know what? I'm waiting for things to get back to normal.
Oh, boy.
That's what I say. Just face. What I'm saying is that really what's happening is that people are waiting for the right time. Right? They're waiting for the right. I'm just waiting for the right time. That's really what it is, right? The thing is, there's never a right time. There's never a right time. It's never a right time, and it's never gonna be perfect, right? It's like, who knows what's gonna happen this year? Yeah. Maybe it'll be a perfect year. Maybe it won't. Right? There are probably people in 2019 who are like, 2020. I'm gonna start my business in 2020. Start a decade. It's gonna happen. It's gonna go down. Like
it's my year. This is gonna be my year.
I'm claiming it.
Wait till January 1st. I'm about to get it in January 1st.
Yeah, January 1st, 2020. It's all mine. It's all mine.
I thought last year was your year. That pandemic hit, you was like, man, my year. I'm gonna do next year.
Yes,
next year gonna be my year.
Exactly. Right. And if something's gonna happen this year, you're gonna be like, oh, never mind. Maybe not. Next, right. It's never gonna be a right time, right? And chances are, maybe you were saying that same thing 5 years ago or 10 years ago, right? And it's never gonna be the right time. No, like you just gotta start now. That's it. It's the time is the time that you thought of the idea. The time is the time that you're sitting here, you keep thinking about it every single day. You can't get your mind to stop thinking about it, right? That means that it's time. That's what that means. That means that it is time.
Wow. So the fact that you can't stop thinking about that thing, that's an indication that it's time to get started.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Absolutely. It's like, because maybe what happens is that you'll find is that, okay, maybe you thought about it 5 years ago, but you had to think about it for 5 years. Then you think about it maybe last week, right? But now it's this week, and you're still thinking about it. Next week will come, you're still thinking about it. There's no longer the 5 year gap is no longer there, right? It just keeps on coming up, and it just keeps on. It's time. It's time.
It's time.
It's time. Yeah.
I would love to just watch a session of you with a client, because I'm telling you, they either are going to be so pumped up, or they are going to be like, "Let me get up out of here with all this energy. I can't do it. I am out of here." That's one or the other. Because I'm telling you, boy, you like this, boy. You got a lot of energy.
I do. I'm also like this in the morning. Yes.
You're like, are you serious? Are you serious about this? Scale of 1 to 10. What is it? A 9? You're not serious. You're not serious about this at all. Don't waste my time. You're not serious.
I mean, that's generally what I say though. I don't say it like that, but I literally will like. I'm a direct, straightforward person. We don't have time and energy to waste. Like, this is like, it is, you're either about this or you're not, and I'll call you out on it because no one else will. I'm that friend that you need, because no one else will call you out. No, they will. They really not. They really won't. And I'm okay with being that person. I'm okay with being that person.
Do you really want to know what I'm thinking? Do you really want to know? You don't want to know what I'm thinking.
And they'll ask the question like, can I put on my coaching hat on right now? Like, can I do that? Like, is it okay? Yes.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I've had that conversation with people where I've either said, "Hey, I feel like I want this more than you do."
Yes.
Right. Or I'm like, you know what? It's clear that you don't really want to do this, so I'm not going to ask you about it anymore. We're going to talk about something. We're going to talk about the Redskins. We're going to talk. I'm not asking you anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I do think that people need that in their life, right? And I think that's probably why people resonate with your message and they're drawn to your coaching, because you're so honest with them.
Yes, and some people aren't drawn to it, and I'm like, that's okay. That's story of my life, story of my life. And I remember there was one person who, and the thing is that there are people. There's coachable, right? There's a coachable aspect to people, right? That
Absolutely.
When it comes to this, there are people who they really just want you to just like agree with them. Pat them on the back, tell them good job, give them a gold star, and be on their way. Even if they're wrong, they still want you to pat them on the back, give them a gold star. Not coachable person, right? Yeah. Then you have people, so you come up to them like, you don't really want to do this. No, what are you talking about? I do. No, right? And there are people who like, oh, you're right. But the difference between the coaching that I do is that I put you in that space, and then we get you out of that space. And then by the time of the conversation, you're like, man, I feel good. And you move forward in what it is that you actually want to do. If we were to have that conversation. I've had the conversation. There have been tears with some people who I've had the conversation with. And it's like, oh my God, you're so right. After that conversation, I tell them 24 hours, just like go to sleep, think about nothing business. Because it's deep. It's deep. You have to go deep into what it is that you actually really want when it comes down to that conversation. And so, yeah. But most of the time, with the question 8, 9, and 10, when I get the 8, 9 to 10s, I already know. That's why I had to have that buffer. I was just like, okay, 8, 9 to 10, I already knows what you want to do. And the thing is that I could use that 8, 9, and 10 because, for example, there's one mother, like a mother I'm working with, and she's a mother of twins. She's doing the business for her twin daughters, and she also works full time and a demanding day job as well, as a contractor. But it's like as a contractor who gets benefits, so it's the whole situation. But as a contractor, and for her, I remember it was a call that we were having. She was avoiding me for a whole month. She was avoiding me for a whole month. I was like, why is she avoiding? Like, did I say something? Did she get the COVID? Like, what's happening? And so then we end up on the phone, and she was saying, Vanessa, like, I'm just so overwhelmed. Like, I don't really know if I can do this business. Like, it's just too much. I'm just wrapping up my clients' work. Like, I'm good. I haven't marketed it all this month. I'm just, that was the space that she was in. Yet, 30 days prior, she had someone buy her largest package using the strategies that we worked through together. She had someone, a lead, buy her largest package, right, for her business. But 30 days later, she's like, oh, it's so overwhelming for her, it was the fear of success, it was imposter syndrome, the whole thing we had to work through.
Mm.
But by the end of that conversation, fast forward 2.5 months later, got her a team member. She's on her way to quitting her job. She was like, Vanessa, thank you. Oh my goodness. Like, it's just a completely different person, right? But for her in that conversation, I literally was like, why are you doing this? Like, I already know the answer to this question because she had told me when we first started working together to set an example for her kids. I knew the answer to the question. But sometimes when people are in that moment where they're overwhelmed, they're stressed out, they want to quit the job, why do you want to do this business? And she literally was telling me, yeah, because I want to do this and this and that. And then I was like, exactly. Cool. So let's change now, right? And so that's pretty much like my process. So, but yeah, that's pretty much for her, right? It's like you were able to use the 8, 9, 10. With other people, I had a conversation with someone where she was working on a business that wasn't for her, and I could see that. You tell them to do something, you're like, this is what you got to do to make it happen. Things just get in the way. That means you don't want to do it, right? That's all procrastination is. It's just you not want to do the thing that you want to do, that you need to do, right? It's really all it is, right? And so for her, it ended up being.
Did you say procrastination?
Yeah, I did.
I know this guy who's got a book.
Really, Ted? You do?
It's Eric. You know the same guy.
Absolutely. No, I mean that's right up my alley, Vanessa. There's this book. It's called The Discipline of Now, and we talk about the different reasons that people procrastinate. But yeah, one of the things is a lot of times there's discomfort, right? You're uncomfortable with something. You're feeling anxiety, or it just bottom line, you just don't like doing the task.
That's it.
Yeah. But I think you have to be aware of what's triggering you, and it helps to have a Vanessa in your life. No, it does. I mean, because it helps you to point out those patterns. You know, I'm noticing that every time we talk about this, you avoid my call, or you go miss it.
What about that idea that you brought up the other day, that business? What are you doing? Oh,
yeah.
Well,
you know that plan we said we were going to do? Well, how's it going? Oh, well,
you know
okay.
My call. You didn't get my email? You didn't get my email, my text, or my instant message? You didn't get any of that?
You didn't see me when I stopped by?
You saw me out there. You saw me out, and you knew it was my car.
Yeah.
Close the blinds. Everybody get in.
It's like the fitness training. It's like people, you have to do sit-ups. You have to eat healthy, right? There's some people who just, they don't want to do it. They just see someone knocking on their door and be like, hey, that alarm you snoozed? What's up? How's it going? That run. Let's go.
Let's do it.
But the good news is that it is, you can overcome that, right? You can be a procrastinator or what have you. But again, getting someone outside of yourself like a Vanessa and developing the right habits, you can certainly move forward. Now that I've shamelessly plugged my book, let's talk about.
I helped you with that.
Well, it was 10. It was actually 10. Yeah, it was 10.
I appreciate you, Ted.
I bragged about my boy.
Now let's plug. You got a book. It's called Finish.
Yes.
The Solopreneur's Guide to Getting Stuff Done. Let's talk about that. What do people take away from reading your book?
Yeah. So my book it's available on Amazon for those who don't know. Check it out. And essentially, it's a 6-step plan and process on how to plan for success, but also on whether it's your goal or your project, but also the key steps to making it happen. And so the finish is the 6 steps. And the first part of the FIN is all about the project management component of things. And then the ISH is all about self-management. And the way that book got started essentially was, all throughout my life, people have been asking me, Vanessa, how do you do it? Vanessa, how do you do it? Never quite understood what they were asking me. I was like, I don't know what you're asking me. I don't know. I study. I work hard. Yeah. Yes, Dad.
How do you do it?
Great question. I manage myself. I manage my emotions. I manage my mind. That's how I do it. I put myself, and I also plan for success as well too. And I plan for success and I take action as well. People, it's a lot of things where people will be like, Vanessa wrote a book. Huh. People are like, where'd that come from? Right. And it's like, it was planned for 3 months, maybe, and so 3 months of planning, 2 days of writing, but it's of that nature. But it's love it. People love the book. It's amazing. But for those of you who are having trouble with getting stuff done, you're bouncing from idea to idea, or you find yourself, let's say you tell your friend about a new idea and they're like, okay, sure, because you're just that person who always has something new going on, right? or you find yourself in your business moving from project to project, nothing ever getting finished, this is the book for you.
Awesome. And it's a bestseller.
Yes, it did. It was great. It was great. Best-selling book in 3 categories: business project management. It was reached number 1 in business project management, number 1 in business decision making, and then number 1 in philosophy. Interesting.
Yes. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Boy, you are somebody.
I'm telling you.
Gee.
She's doing it, Ted.
Yeah.
I try. And I still sleep 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night.
Really?
Yes. Hustle and breathing. Tell you, hustle and breathe.
So Eric, we need to ask that question then about, what's your normal day like, Vanessa? How's it start off? Tell us your normal day.
Well, I wake up around like 6:30. It varies. I don't wake up with the alarm. I just wake up. And so then from there, I'll read a book for 30 minutes. Right now I'm on like money mindset related books. So reading a book for 30 minutes. Well, actually, no, now I'm reading books by billionaires. So I'm reading that for 30 minutes. So I do that every morning, 30 minutes. And then from there, I do like a 30-minute like training. I also do like part of like this like mastermind group as well too. So they have like different sales and different things. So I'll listen to a 30-minute like sales training. Then I listen to before I even get out of bed, I do 5 questions as well. Just around like, what am I grateful for? What am I proud of? What am I excited about? And how will I achieve a business breakthrough today? And then how will today get me closer to my main goal? Then I read the book. Then I do the videos. And then from there, I'll check in my Facebook. That's my main marketing platform. So I check on Facebook, any messages, notifications, check my emails, connect with my team as well too, because of my sales team, my marketing team, see if they got any messages for me there. And then I do lots of this. I just think about stuff. I just like think. And I'll assess like stuff from, whatever's like, maybe it's like the next event that I have going on. Like right now I have another event happening, 2-day event. It's actually happening next week, Monday and Tuesday. So for that, it'll be, like, what am I set up for success for that? Are there any posts I need to do? How else can I keep people engaged? All that stuff in that nature. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much the day. And then the day is just a whole bunch of strategy. Calls. So I'll just do calls with people. Either people in the group just to learn more about them and how I can best serve them, or my actual clients as well too. And so, yeah, that's my
so then your friends are not inviting you to brunch, because by the time you do all of that, they're like, look, girl, I'm hungry. You read all the books, doing all the videos, and we're going to IHOP.
I mean, the thing is that like my friends know they're like planning in advance. They like, I am like, you need to give me a bit. Like, this is not a 10 minutes from now, what's up? Well, sometimes it depends on the day. It depends on the day. I will say it does depend on the day. Tonight's not the night, but tomorrow night, maybe someone hits me up at like 8 p.m. What you do in 10 minutes? I'm like, oh, maybe, why not? Yeah, just need a break. Sure, why not? Whatever, maybe. But yeah, that's me.
But no, Ted, I mean, it's interesting that the successful people we have on this show, they're very intentional. Right.
Yes.
They don't just, we always say, no one says, I just wake up, eat a bag of Doritos.
We're trying to find that person now.
Doritos and a Pepsi.
You roll out of bed. No.
No, that's not me.
No.
Yeah. Very intentional. Very intentional. I know someone, even in my corporate, when I was in corporate, like very intentional. I was like, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing that. Getting this promotion. Very, very strategic. Someone was like, strategic? You're so strategic, Vanessa. And it was like, gave a very bad connotation. I was like, I'm very intentional, right? Meanwhile, they're very awesome life. I'm like, I don't want to be that. I want to be very intentional about where I'm trying to go and how I'm getting there. So that's me. That's how I do it. That's how I get stuff done.
Man, you better hitch up to Vanessa, boy, because Vanessa going places.
Absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely.
I'm tired, Vanessa. You done made me tired. You talking about 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Oh, I'm getting 7 hours, 9 sleep hours tonight because you done wore me out.
I don't do coffee. I don't do coffee. I just do water and sleep. Yeah, it's my energy.
Wow.
Oh, man. All right. It is now time to go around the horn. Now, Vanessa, this is Ted's favorite part of our show. This is where each of us, we'll give a closing takeaway about this is the closing takeaway we want people to remember about this episode.
Okay.
So Vanessa, we'll start with you. You're the guest of the hour. What's your closing takeaways you want people to remember?
Oh, you know, the importance of taking care of business while also taking care of your life. Take care of business while taking care of your life. And it's not an either or, it's an and. Take care of your business and take care of your life. Fit your business around your life, not the other way around. That's what I would say there. That's what I would say there. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Right, Eric. Right. You done put me behind the profound business strategist out of Stanford. It just dropped some real deep stuff like that. We're both like,
no, I mean,
I'm gonna keep it simple.
Right.
I'm gonna keep it simple, which is how we started this off. Everything that we talked about business tonight has been you got to be passionate about it. Right? I mean, do you really want to do it? Like, do you really want to do it? And I think we all know those people that you kind of, it's people that talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, but really you just want to see those people that's talking about it, but they're constantly doing some stuff, right? Because then you know that they're moving towards where they need to go, right? Like, you're not going to get to that next level unless you move, right? Like, you're not going to finish unless you start.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
So I mean, just everything that you said today. I mean, if someone is watching or has been watching this episode and you're thinking about trying to get something going, or you got it going and it's just not moving, I mean, just all this energy that Vanessa has dropped on us this show. I mean, if you're not ready to get out there and get that business moving or whatever it is, I don't know what can help you. But yeah, this has been really good information, and we hope that our users will follow up with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And my around the horn piece, it really has to do with, I think you have to know the difference between being active and being effective, right? You be busy doing a whole lot of different things, but if they're not the right things, you'll struggle. But I think the key is not to give up, right? Just because you're doing things doesn't seem like it's working. I go back to this. You need a Vanessa in your life. You need someone who can point out your blind spots and help you to make better use of your time. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep them just overcomplicate. We love to overcomplicate things. It's not that deep. Keep it simple. A lot of times it's the 20% of the things that get you to 80% of your results.
Yeah.
Right. So Vanessa can help you to get those 20% activities done and make sure you're operating within the right mindset. But that's my takeaway. And Vanessa, it's been an honor having you on the show. Thank you for sharing what you shared.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me.
And really quick, please tell the people how they can connect with you and how they can follow you.
Yes, the best way is through Facebook. So feel free to send me a friend request. Yeah, send me a friend request. We friends. And so send me a friend request on Facebook, or you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. Vanessa Zamy, not hard to find. Vanessa Zamy.
All right, fantastic. Well, like we said, this is not your everyday podcast.
No.
You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can go to the different platforms, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you like to get your podcasts. This is it for episode number 101. Join us next week for episode number 102.
102.
102 is coming at you next week.
It's going to be a tough act to follow, Vanessa. I'm telling you, a tough act to follow. Thank you, Vanessa.
Vanessa has raised the bar for everybody else coming. So until next time, have a great one.